If a plumber is using our SEO marketing services, all the work occurs in America. In fact, it occurs right here in Fort Worth, Texas. I want to tell you why that's so important. I tell people I'm a capitalist. I tried to work in India. We tried to work in the Philippines.
We'll admit it. We've tried to get cheap labor elsewhere.
Yeah, because the consumer, the plumber wants a good price.
Right.
It's fine. It's like, hey, we'll go to Philippines. We'll go to, every time we called the Philippines, and I'm not even joking, there was a rooster crowing in the background. I think we should all have chickens, honestly, and produce our own eggs. But it's disconcerting when I call a business and there's a rooster crowing in the background. And that was always followed by really horrible work, I might add. Yeah. So we've tried. I've tried Lucknow, India, Mumbai, India, Romania. We tried Ukraine back in 2018-19.
For software development.
For software development. We tried, I don't even know, and I don't even care, but every time we did it, it was bad labor. It was poor resources all the way around. Couple of things about this I want to talk about. So we tried to do it for just cost savings. Everybody wants cost savings.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if work's done improperly, then it doesn't optimize well.
Right.
And so somebody goes on Fiverr, somebody goes and does this, somebody calls an American, and the American goes off somewhere else, and the work quality goes down the hill. And yes, there's AI and stuff, but it still takes a skilled person that knows a certain category to put a square peg in a square hole and a round peg in a round hole, and it's not that easy yet, but people act like it
Even
is.
if you've got someone who knows how to use AI and they have AI write an article, if that person doesn't understand what the end product or end result is supposed to be,
right,
they're going to look at that and say, okay, it's 400 words, I'm good. They're not going to know that whether it's written the right way, whether it's addressing the subject the right way.
There's AI content now, but back in the day, we'd go do this, and a lot of these countries were basically colonized by the English. England at one point, or owned by them, and they'd have some weird British-style English, and we're like, bro, this is like American English.
Spelling color with a U.
Yeah, this is America. Quit with that British stuff, and then be like, content looks horrible. But yeah, there are cultural differences alone. Now, granted, somebody comes here, I don't care. Somebody's here, they're American. Right. I don't care where they come from, you're American. And people pick up cultural norms, work ethic. We tend to get a lot of people here for anybody. I'm pro-American, I'm out of Texas. But we get a lot of people here that come here to fight and work. And so there's a ludicrous amount of
That's literally the American dream. You come here you work. You don't come here and win the lotto. You come here and you work and you get success that way.
Yeah. We don't take off the month of August. I think does Italy do that or something? But we're not off on the month of August. We
don't take a nap every day in the middle of the day.
We're not, yeah.
I wish.
Napping for 2 hours. But so when people come here, they're workers by nature. We have that in the genetic makeup of all the different types of people that immigrated in here and came in. So there's that, and it's a big deal. And I'm in Texas, and I don't take kindly if people don't work. And I tell people this, and I'm not trying to be funny about it or win any favor about it. It's just I'm 52. I grew up in the 80s. I didn't change. Everybody else, a lot of people changed, We even let people go home for COVID.
Yep.
And not because I'm not a conservative guy, because we owned a digital marketing agency. And it's like, we can track them, work on Slack, watch them digitally a little bit. And what happened to them, Jason? What happened to 75% of them?
For the first 6 months to a year, everything was fine. And then after that, everything went downhill.
Entitlement, piles of Jello, mush. We had.
I remember we hadn't actually seen people in person in 3 years,
yeah.
And then one day we said, "Hey, we're going to start having Zoom meetings every day again, just to keep everybody connected and keep on task." And the first time everybody showed up, literally everybody pops up on my screen, and their hair's all disheveled, and they're all just like. They're like in a weird, dimly lit room, and they all look like they haven't seen the sun in a year. And I was like, holy shit.
They were on the last week of Alone, surviving on Vancouver Island, trying to fend off bears, but except they didn't have bears. They had Cheetos and reruns of Judge Judy.
Yeah, one of our guys that used to be with us, and he was always, when he came in the office, he was always like
I know who you're talking about.
perfectly groomed at all times. Even
yeah.
if he was just in a t-shirt and jeans, it was like he was like buff, and he was like a fitted tee, and he looked great at all the time. And he pops up there, and it's like, 2 weeks patchy growth of beard, hair everywhere, and he's just looking at me like, why am I even here?
Old reference, but Grizzly Adams,
Yeah.
But yeah, so somebody, and that stuff is real. And the sad part about this is you go to, I always say there's 30,000 digital marketing agencies and 29,900 of them are really bad.
Yeah.
And if somebody
And
doesn't,
he's being nice by giving credit to 100.
I am, because it's really just one here, Jason. Plumbing Webmasters and DataPins.
I know 100 good marketing agencies, and we're 100 of them.
There you go. But you go out to these places and they do this bullshit sales routine on you. And then you fall to this crew. If you're damn lucky, they're in America.
But they're probably not.
But if they are in America and they're at home, they're not the same kind of Americans that were doing your work before 2020. And they're not watching them, and they're churning out as slovenly and worse work as possible, and details are important.
Details are everything.
And there's a lot of progressive things that need to be happening now with software like DataPins and innovation and digital brand signaling that needs to come to your plumbing company that actually works. I get a little harsh on this. I don't care anymore. I say stuff that people wish was illegal, but it's just offensive, guys. It's offensive to some people, but none of my plumbing clients, not one of them, finds me offensive.
Nope.
People that sit at home and don't do their job find it offensive. In fact, I had a video go viral because I said that basically anybody working from home is 100% trash. And about 400,000 people
said, okay, boomer.
Yeah, I'm not
boomers.
I'm the best. We're Gen X's, man. We're Gen X, the last group fighting like tooth and nail. Don't give a shit. Still going old school. Come in, work hard all day long. Why wouldn't you anyway? You don't work a 40-hour week, 50-hour, whatever you're going to work. Why would you work like a chump, like an idiot, and then expect to get it, and then be entitled? Like, I've been seeing this on Instagram forever, and I don't have that and the other. It's like, well,
I've been sitting home all week. I work maybe 10 hours, but I want to get paid for 40.
Yeah, it drives me insane. I don't say much about it out in public. I just look around and shake my head,
Yep.
I get mad, though, when people, don't know how to drive a shopping cart at Costco, Jason. It pisses me off. It's like, this is America, damn it. Get out of my way.
What is it you said when your son said that there should be laws about how to drive a shopping cart properly?
Well, you get your legal citizenship, and then you're in America now, and this is how we drive our shopping carts at Costco.
It's on the citizenship test right after discussion of the Fourth Amendment. Is the proper method for driving your Costco shopping cart.
We'll stop and be nice and talk to you in Texas, but there's a time and place, guys. It feels like the NPCs come out of nowhere. You got a little line, and then 3 shopping carts come up and just stop. What the hell's going on? Yeah, it's like, what is happening? But yeah, anyway, it's done here because it's the best here.
Yeah.
And we did, I will say, just for the sake of a couple people working from home, we have a couple of high integrity people that didn't turn into piles of mush. They didn't take advantage of the corporation.
That actually got better over time.
Yeah.
That became more reliable and improved their skill set. And those people are solid gold. Don't get me wrong.
I'm mainly an individual freedom, but there's some points, and I'm not like a group think person, but there's some times and places I have to be for the good of the company. So as an entity and a group of people, then I'm for Jason knows sometimes I pop up, but I tend to be pretty loyal too. And I'll stay with somebody too long, but we can't sacrifice the good of the whole for the business.
Right.
For some individual that just decided that they want to be entitled and not work anymore. So that stuff don't fly, but it's deeper than that. And you cannot run the company and provide good results for people. A lot of the plumbers out there, and one of the biggest complaints that people have is that they don't know if we're working or not. So if somebody goes and does some plumbing work, they're like, that's my work. You saw me work, and I was turning a wrench. I did this. I did that.
Right.
But they go back and they get digital marketing. They don't know what happened. And it's not that way here, really, as far as people see DataPins and see updates. We have innovative things, but we wouldn't have innovative things. In fact, I think Monday we have someone new starting for software programming.
Yeah.
In the office, Jason. They're coming in the office. A software programmer.
Shocking.
But yeah, shut the front door. Yeah, they're actually.
When I put that job ad up, I was getting applications from literally all over the country and into Canada and Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's like the job ad says in office, no remote.
We got people from all countries that are great Americans that come in here. I did have a guy that I think was from India, that I think was in India, that said he was in Dallas. and when he left a message, I don't know, maybe he was in Dallas. I don't think he was in Dallas. But he ain't driving from Dallas to Fort Worth anyway if you're not from here.
No, it's almost an hour
Back
drive.
in the day, you could do it. Not now. We're a megatropolis. It takes forever to drive across.
An hour with no traffic. Rush hour, it's 2 hours.
Oh, you could do 3 if you're in the wrong. If you're Collin County all the way to where we are, you could be up for 2:45, 2 hours 45 minutes.
We're not as bad as Houston yet, though.
Yeah. So anyway, it matters, and it matters like a whole lot. I mean, on some level, you don't have a business in certain things if it doesn't occur this way. So a lot of the frustration that a plumbing company has with digital marketing agency, this is what's happening that I'm telling you. Not here in this office, not at this place. We have a handful of several people with high integrity that do some work from home, but they work from Texas. I'm pretty particular about that too. I don't have to just say, hey, I'm taking somebody from somewhere else. I won't get into it because I don't want to insult anybody's state here on the podcast. But we hire at will, work at will, quit at will, fire at will. I'm not getting into some state that has me hamstrung and has me keeping.
You know who you are.
Yeah, has me keeping. Well, hey, you might know who you are, but you might got to want to work with Texas for your digital marketing agency because we don't play around here with it. And by the way, if I was in that state or one of those 2-3 states, I'm talking about, it'd cost you a whole lot more than it does here.
Yep.
So, we're the last state that doesn't require workers' comp.
Really?
We are the last state.
Did not know that.
The plumbers know that. If they're
I'm
not in Texas, they know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day that had like 5-6 trucks on the road, maybe 4 trucks. I think his workers' comp was $400,000 a year. $400,000 a year.
Wow.
You know why?
Why?
Somebody, go home and draw as long as they can, right or wrong, hurt or not.
Yeah.
As long as they can draw.
Right. That's crazy.
Anyway, this is too much information, but I can't get in trouble. I ain't running hard labor around here. But anyway, I was running did a home security company, as you know, years ago, and I had an installer, and this individual came in and said, and I mean, I was young. I mean, I was pretty freaking young. Back then it was like, I don't operate in the same way in which I did when I was 25 years old.
Yeah.
So
I've heard.
Anyway, somebody come in. I mean, it was a rough shop to mess with me in the shop. So we were installing a lot of home security systems. Somebody came in and said I fell off a ladder, and I hurt my back, and I'm like, okay, well, go home. And
Good luck in life.
And I wasn't. I mean, I'm just like, go home. I wasn't trying to be mean. I mean, I'm 25. I didn't have much empathy or anything at that point. I felt invincible.
Yeah.
I was like, well, go home, and I'll take you off schedule for the week, and we'll see you next week. He said, well, I'm going to draw workers' comp. I said, well, you ain't got workers' comp. And they're like, oh. I was like, well, just going home. And then come in the next day, said, I'm fine. It's like, I'm going to work. And
not that people don't get legitimately hurt, but
I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't, but we're skirting around some sensitive talk stuff. So I thought I'd throw in some extra bullshit. Anyway, so say what you want about any of it, but I think that most of the plumbing guys that appreciate the fact that this is like, we work in here like it's 1980s, 1990s maybe. We don't work in here like it's 2000. We sure shit don't work in here like it's 2020 plus.
Right.
And we
Except our software, which is extremely advanced.
we can, yeah, except the high end innovation.
Josh's over here laughing at us.
I will say this about it too. Like I tell people because they ask me about it, and they'll start. And frankly, none of the plumbers go like, "Nolan, what kind of code are you in Python, or what are you working in there?" And they're like, "I know a few things about it. Like we are in Python code, and we've got ChatGPT in it, and we got stuff." I got lucky that there's a guy here named Robert that helped us develop the software. But I'm an entrepreneur, man. That's it. I used to mow lawns. I got kicked out of my house by my stepdad at 17. I was going to drink beer and date cheerleaders and get an Eddie Bauer edition Bronco. I wanted one of those real bad. I still kind of want one.
I remember those.
I still kind of want one like, retro motored up, like jacked and redone. But I didn't get that.
Does Eddie Bauer still exist?
You can still get that old Bronco, but I don't know I don't even know who Eddie Bauer is.
Well, they used to have the stores. They actually had an Eddie Bauer store at North Park Mall in Dallas where you could get all the Eddie Bauer clothing and everything.
Well, I graduated high school in 1991, and I was like out on my own. I was done. I was going to go to TCU, which is like the Harvard of Texas, in case y'all don't know. At least a Fort Worth, it's like big time, And
TCU is like the elite college of North Texas.
Yeah, so I was going to go there and go to the Neely School of Business and be a finance guy, and I ended up mowing lawns.
You never told me that.
I wanted to be a finance. I took economics for fun and philosophy. Those were my classes. But my dad was a CPA and an attorney, sort of, and too long of a story for that. But I was going to do that, and I ended up working. And I tell it to relate to people because people are like, how did I get to do all this stuff? I just painted curves and mowed lawns, and then I marketed, got a successful home security company, and marketing was key. And
you just did what you had to do.
I did what I had to do, and I'd made a ton of money doing home security systems. Would have retired by now. I would have retired 10, 15, 20 years ago had I kept the money, but you make mistakes, you move forward, But we marketed and sold 23,000 alarm systems.
Right.
But it was hard knocks one at a time, and we've got some really good people doing work here, and I can talk the lingo and I steer the ship and do stuff, but we've got a great group of people, and a handful of people that help run this company and do fabulous work for plumbers.
I think we have the best staff we've ever had right now.
We do, and we have the best credentials we've ever had. You can look us up anywhere. You can ask ChatGPT what they think about Plumbing Webmasters and DataPins. And I love ChatGPT because they love us.
They love us.
They love us. So we've got all kinds of things that somebody can check out. Somebody watches a podcast and gets a good feeling about the company from seeing us, which is part of marketing, by the way. You could do this for your own business and brand. That's what we help you do. It's a little different than what we're doing right now to come to you. You come to your client slightly differently. You want to be on Google Maps, Bing Maps, Organic, ChatGPT, Gemini. You want to be on these things. What's so damn funny, Jason?
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking you were talking about people get comfortable with us, and I can't count the number of times that you brought on a new client, you made a sale, and then you put them in the system. And every time Nolan brings on a new client, I then call them and give them a little welcome pep talk.
Texas, welcome aboard.
Yeah, it's just say, hey, welcome aboard. We're looking forward to working with you. And I always say, hey, this is Jason. And a lot of the time, these guys go, "Oh, are you the bald guy with the beard?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And they're all like, "Oh yeah, I watched you in videos with Nolan." Yeah. They're always really happy because they think they feel like they know us already.
So yeah, and it's great. And by the way, we literally say that. I'll call Jason. We got a new client. Give them the Texas welcome aboard.
Right.
And so when we're talking about working here, that's literally part of it. We take pride in the fact that we provide Texas type services. But what I was going to say is that all the stuff you do out there and all the people that have screwed you around on digital marketing and stuff, nobody's like Plumbing Webmasters. Nobody's like DataPins. You can look us up on Google and see glowing reviews. You can find podcasts we've done for years. You can find video versions in the YouTube account, meta stuff on Facebook and Instagram. Just you can ask ChatGPT about us. There's all kinds of things that occur with us that don't occur with other people. And some of the methodology about how we go to market, how we choose to work with people and people that work here, and how we do this stuff is all vital to it.
Right.
And it just works this way. We got away from it for a little while. I think overall it was good to have that 2020 blip. and to have the government rip the business apart and send everybody home and then have to redo the damn thing.
You don't sound like you think it was a good thing.
It was bullshit. I don't know that I'd have taken I got some PPP money on it, but I'd have gladly not had that for the devastation bomb they dropped on us.
Right.
But
we rebuilt, came back better.
The PPP money that businesses got for keeping in people and like, here's some money, we just killed the shit out of you for the last year, was not enough for what it did.
Right.
To go, Jason can tell you, how difficult was it to send everybody home, and while the whole world, not now, not with the current administration and climate of coming back to work, but everybody for a while, like, we work from home. I ain't ever coming back. You can't make me, you know? Yeah. And then having to try to rebuild the staff in the office. How long did that take?
It took us, it really took 3 years.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while. And then you could look at like we look up and go, are they really that low integrity? No, that's so-and-so. They were great.
They were always great.
They were great. That's so-and-so. No, she was the best and he was, no.
Turned out not so much.
We had people, we had an editor one time, wouldn't even, bullshit. You want to talk about bullshit with stuff. And this has all changed too. We had we used to have a bunch of writers in there, and this has changed. This is AI generated stuff now, but we got good humans that have to put all of it together. But we use ChatGPT for content. But you can't use that with some guy from Fiverr from India. It's going to still be bad.
You actually still need a writer, because a writer has to be able to, just like I was saying earlier, it has to look at what ChatGPT spits out and confirm that it makes sense and is on subject and is properly formatted and everything else.
Custom site with a good user interface and schema code, all that stuff still has to be done.
Yeah.
And people aren't doing it anymore. But we used to have a whole team of writers. Like, I think we had up to 10 people at one time.
Yeah, and at one time the writing department was actually over half the company.
Yeah, with an editor.
Yeah.
And the editors, please. You read shit for a living. You're an editor, you read shit. You read shit and make sure the grammar's not as bad as mine. That's all you do.
That's pretty accurate, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty damn accurate. But most of the plumbers aren't. I didn't get a degree in English. I got a degree in ass whooping and hard knocks, So I did entrepreneurship.
Right.
But we had somebody working from home. She didn't read one of the damn sites for a whole week and threw it up at 3 p.m. on a Friday. Only after we got out. She wasn't doing nothing, like literally nothing. She's like, well, I'm an editor. You read shit. And you didn't read shit this week.
Your whole job is reading shit, and you didn't read shit.
You didn't read shit.
Ergo, you did not do your job.
We have quality control now, but I won't let anybody be called an editor in this office.
Right.
The word editor doesn't exist here anymore because your position's gone, and you never really did that. This ain't Time Magazine or New York Times bestseller. You're not coming up with the next great romance novel. You're reading stuff and making sure it ain't messed up.
Yeah.
How hard can that be? Somebody went home and didn't even read shit. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Anyway, there you go, guys. And if you're looking for somebody good, we be it. There you go. Edit that. Need an editor.
Video editing is still real.
Call us, message us. We'd love to talk to you. Love to be of service. Didn't get off in all the great stuff we do, but we do a lot of great stuff. Show up online. Be serious right now. It's the time to be serious about marketing. A lot of market change and stuff going on, economic stuff. You can grow during a bad economy, guys. We certainly are.
American labor. No tariffs here.
Just damn expensive labor.
Our labor was already ridiculously expensive.
All right, guys. We look forward to working with you. We'll see you.
Take it easy.
All right.